One, two, three. Getting ready to get this going soon. Another SPS Monday motivation. Testing. One, two, three. Check. Good morning, everybody out there. This is Lindsay Huddleston with Sports Psychology Solutions. That's right. SPS is back in the building. Got another Monday motivation. Getting ready to get started. Woo, Pan, you keep it rolling, don't you, Woo? Up on your grind, Mr. Henry Ford College assistant coach. My guy, you on it, man. We got to touch base. Let me know what's going on. Got to get you on. Let the people know what you got up. What kind of contingency plan you got for the Woo League and whatnot. I'm just going to go ahead and get started, man. If I got my man rock with me, I got enough. Good morning, everybody. This is Lindsay Huddleston with SPS back in the building. Today's topic is the Flintstones meet the Jetsons. What, Lindsay? Wait a minute, man. You got these different titles. Well, where are you going with this? Stay with me. The Flintstones meet the Jetsons. Hey, Tanisha, what's up, fam? That's right. Hanna-Barbera. I remember this name because as a youngster, I was watching the Flintstones. And of course, I was watching the Jetsons too. Hanna-Barbera was the company, the parent company that put them together. And in 1987, yours truly was like 11 years old. So, I was at home watching TV. Shout out to Mom for keeping it going. There was a final episode, if you will, where the Flintstones finally met the Jetsons. And for those younger than that, you may say the Flintstones. I'm not talking about all the Hoopers that come out of Flint, Michigan. Shout out to the Flintstones, no doubt. I'm talking about the cartoon. You had Fred and Barney. You had Wilma. Then you had the Jetsons with George and Judy. And what was so interesting about the Flintstones that they took us way back. Damien, what's up, brother? Thanks for checking in. They took us way back, to prehistoric time and how they were getting along. They had the car that they can put their feet out and go, ooh, I don't even know how to make that noise anymore. But then again, you had the Jetsons who were futuristic, with the flying cars and so many things that look like today, if you will, if you really think about it. So the reason I want to bring that up is because this is, of course, based on what we're dealing right now with the COVID-19. But before I go into that, I want to give a shout out to some special people. This past Friday and every Friday going forward, I'm going to be part of the Streets Are Talking, a live video podcast put on by two great individuals, Mr. Don Houston and my guy Clarence Sumo Babor. He says it with that little French accent. These brothers brought me in to be a part of this great platform where it's people from all over the country and even all over the world. Hey, brother, good to see you. And we talk about a lot of topics, but of course the COVID-19 and how it's impacting people, particularly people in urban America, African Americans, and the minority community. And it's just a wonderful experience. I'm glad to be a part of that. So I want to shout them out again. I want to make sure you check them out this Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because they are hailing out of Chicago. Major, good morning. Thank you for checking in. What's going on, Brandon? Thanks for checking in as well. So I really appreciate them, and this is a visual from the other night. Some great people on there. I mean, some great information. Mark Wallace, that brother is a serious investor in real estate holder with some great information. Frat brother Al Howard was in the building. Rick Montgomery, young lady Rachel Montgomery as well. Great people, and I'm glad to be a part of it. Even some people younger. Good morning, Mimi. Good morning, Michelle. Kirsten Thompson, young sister doing her thing. Willie Williams, Carla Houston, so many great people. Charlie Morgan, Stephen Carr, my brother from Western Michigan University. I could just go on and on. So I would encourage you guys to take some time to pop in on that. We also had a time. I got a chance to represent for my city. I got a chance to represent for the city of Detroit on this podcast, if you will. And just like last night, the city of Detroit was well represented in The Last Dance. I know many of you guys were. Noel, what's up, man? Good to see you. We're watching The Last Dance about Chicago finally being able to get through the Detroit Pistons. The bad boy. Oh, boy, that was our era. But that is consistent with my theme today. Again, the theme is the Flintstones meet the Jetsons. So going back to that, look at that. You got Fred, you got Wilma, Betty, and Barney. Then you got Elroy, Judy, I forget their wife's name, and of course, George Jetson. And through some amazing thing, good morning, Sherry, through some amazing, actually, Elroy had built something because he was a little inventor, if you will, if you remember in the Jetsons. Jetsons, and his invention went, haywire. Something crazy happened. And actually, he was inventing a time machine to take the Jetsons and further into the future for a vacation. They were going to go further into the future. But somehow, the dog Asteroid, who always comes to mess up stuff, he messed it up, and it sent them back. It sent them back into the past. So now the Jetsons came in contact with the Flintstones. And if you know this storyline, excuse me for repeating it, but a lot of you may not be familiar. But let's stop right there for a second. Taking the cartoon aspect out of what's going on, talk about the serious nature of what we experienced with this COVID-19. Nobody expected us to go from where we are, almost a basic way of living, if you will, to this futuristic living all of a sudden. Shout out to Top Shelf, Justice Christian in the building. Nobody expected it to be overnight. Nobody expected that overnight the school systems will be online. Nobody expected overnight that Cash App will probably be one of the most important apps you have, because people are dealing with cash less and less and less. Also, nobody expected these things to happen. But just like in that fictitious story of the Jetsons meeting the Flintstones, it happens just like that. It happens just like that. So what I'm trying to tell my listeners and those who are checking in, who may look at this at a later time, is we have to understand that sometimes we may be living in the Flintstone era, we may be living in the basic era with how we do things, but just overnight, we could be living in the era of the Jetsons. And that's not to be a negative thing, because these things happen for us all the time. Mo Benson up, getting it in. I know you probably just sweating somewhere, man, getting your workout in. My brother Mo, good to see you, man. So you look at that, look at how they used to have, the Flintstone car where they moved their feet to make a move. Then the Jetsons had these flying cars, and it was just so extreme to us at the time. But now you look at it, we're not far from that. But these two societies have met, and we're experiencing that same thing right now, guys. The Jetsons are meeting the Flintstones. And I want to take you back to something. Every 10 years, and I want to give Mark Wallace from our Streets of Talking call, give him a shout out, because he made this point. Every 10 years, we have a major life-changing issue that changes life as we know it. Desmond Johns, what's up, brother? Back in 9/11. I remember that with my frat brother Steve and we were leaving, going to Detroit to vote. And I remember that vividly, being in the classroom at my old elementary school, McKinney Elementary, and seeing the second tower go down. But that was 9/11. That was 2011, right? We had this thing that changed life as we knew it, changed the way we traveled, changed so many things. Stay with me. And then 2008, almost 10 years later, 2008, we had the stock market crash. I take it back, go back to 9/11 if I'm saying it right. You had the stock market crash, and then you have 2008, you have this thing happening as well. Good morning, mother. You have the stock market crash. It changed everything as it relates to our finances, home ownership, all these crazy things end up happening. All right. Now, here we are, 2020. You have this coronavirus that's impacting the globe. Again, all these things have been happening that have been changing all our lives, going forward. Good morning, Melinda. So every 10 years, we have these life-changing things that are unexpected, that change our lives, that almost take us every time from being a Flintstone-type society to a Jetsons-type society. And I don't know what the next thing is going to be 10 years from now, but if we start preparing our minds, Kai, what's up, brother? Start preparing our minds now to know that there's going to be these changes, and if we prepare our minds now, we can better adapt. Now, I put a post up yesterday on my social media, and I put it up out of anger. I was really upset. I went to a local store here in the Lansing area. Actually, I was in Okemos, and vast majority of people had their face covered. But I started seeing these few people of different races, different backgrounds, who just almost like defiantly didn't want to do it. Now, here's the thing. Many people can make an argument about, what's up, Stephen, how they feel about the coronavirus and what they believe and what they don't believe. But there's a term I want to introduce to you called public health integrity. Public health integrity. I don't know if you have coronavirus. I don't know if you don't. I don't know what kind of substance you take to make your body healthy to fight off. I don't know. But if I see you with a mask on, that increases the public health integrity. See, we have this Flintstone mentality sometimes when it comes down to this global pandemic. Yeah, I know. I saw the house party in Chicago, but I'm not going to limit, inappropriate behavior to one race. That's across the board. Because when I was in Okemos, Michigan, it wasn't just black people I was looking at that was conducting themselves in that way. So this is universal across the board. So what I'm trying to say, folks, is that we have to have some public health integrity. I don't know your health condition just like you don't know mine. Going back years ago when the horrible disease AIDS was ravaging communities, you can't look at someone to see if they have AIDS or not. You don't know, but you still take certain practices to make sure you prevent yourself from contracting the disease. I don't mean to equate it like that, but I think it's not too far off when I say that. So the point being is, in this coronavirus era, let's have a Jetsons mentality. Let's be futuristic. If you think it's a conspiracy, hey, I get down with the best of conspiracy theories. But when the American military, for the first time in a modern era, stopped recruiting individuals for 2 weeks to make changes for the coronavirus, when Cheyenne Mountain out in Colorado, which is like the nuclear bunker that the president hides out in when there's a global threat, when they're hand sanitizing, when they're quarantining people 2 weeks at a time just to come in there so it doesn't get infected, that's a real thing. So folks, let's think like the Jetsons. Let's be ahead of the game. There's an ebb and flow in everything we do. Just like I talked about those things, those global crises that impact us every 10 years, there's an ebb and flow. Meaning, what do you say? Be proactive, not reactive. Thank you. Wear the mask. I can't even say any much more about it, and I appreciate everybody checking in. Cindy, hey, Cindy, how are you? It's been a while checking in. But there's an ebb and flow in society, guys. It goes back and forth, and if we can just be of the right mindset and recognize that these things happen and go back and forth, we can prepare ourselves to be best prepared for it. Like I said, these global crises happen every 10 years or so, and something happens, and we have to keep preparing ourselves to be best equipped to deal with it. Hi, shout out to my guy, Dame Dash. I'm a Dame Dash disciple, if you will, whether his personality or his mindset, but as an entrepreneur. This is a clip from him. I shouldn't say a clip, a visual of him being on the Breakfast Club some years ago, and he had the very controversial discussion about a boss mentality versus an employee mentality, and it was so controversial it divided people. But I'm here to say, and we had the same discussion on the call, Streets of Talking. In my view, you have to have a combination of both. Good morning, Terry. You have to have a combination of both. You have to have a boss mentality as well as an employee mentality. As I said on the podcast, we need a lot of entrepreneurs, but we also need people who are, influential in the business that they're working for. Because who's going to be your plug? Who are you going to connect with? Or one of your favorite interviews. I know the Dave Dash interview was serious. So I'm trying to tell us, guys, as we go forward, the Flintstone mentality is good, and we still can, try to talk to somebody face to face if the opportunity presents itself. If we can still write a letter or something like that. But we have to understand we live in the Jetsons era, folks. And if we don't take on that mindset and start thinking like that futuristically, you're going to get left behind. You'll be left in the Stone Age, literally. You'll be under a rock, and some of us fight that. And I'm not saying just because you accept a Jetsons futuristic mentality that you give up your core values. Not at all. Those things are still important. But the past is going to be shaking hands with somebody. The future is going to be nodding. That's just where we are with this world that we're living in. So going back to my comment about Dame Dash, I think it's very important that we have, the diversity of thought, a boss mentality, an entrepreneurial spirit, as well as a hard worker. I think it's important to have both. And I don't think it's about splitting it one or the other. Leo Brown, what's going on, man? I don't think it's about splitting it one way or the other. It's about being able to share both mentalities, okay? Now, here's the reality. Here you have an egg. The question is, if we are all the eggs, are you a hard-boiled egg or not? Because we know that if you're not hard-boiled, if we continue to put this vice on the egg, what's going to happen? It's going to crack. It's going to leak. We need to be hard-boiled inside, guys. We need to really take this time of this extended lockdown, particularly my people in Michigan, to be able to really say, okay, pretty soon things are going to come. A lot of us had a chance to get out there recently, and the question comes, did you get out there and what you do? I'm not judging. I'm not judging you for going out and why you went out. But I'm just saying it's not really about when you went out this weekend. It's about what the future weekends are going to be like, what your mindset is going to be like. Like I said before, there's always a huge global issue that happens that changes life as we know it every 10 years. Every 10 years or so, we go from a Flintstone mentality to a Jetsons mentality. And the question is, if you're the egg, what's going to be inside of you when that grip starts to come a little closer and tighter? If you're the egg, are you going to leak or are you going to be solid inside? So I think it's important that you have that mindset. You work on those things. that can help you. What's up, Dante, brother? I see you working out online all the time, man, staying healthy and fit. Good job. Keep that up. Dante has a hard-boiled mentality. Dante was part of that Waverly 2000 championship team as a freshman, won the state championship for Waverly High School here in Michigan, and he has that hard-boiled mentality. And if you don't have that hard-boiled mentality, folks, let this be your Phoenix moment. Let this be the time right now where you can go inside yourself, go inside and renew your spirit. I always talk about the Phoenix being a mythical creature, but the idea is still the same. If you've been living in the Flintstone mentality, this is the time right now to get your Jetsons mentality on. This is the time right now to go within yourself and say, okay, what things can I do different? Or how can I shift my mindset? And how can I be futuristic? Many of us are going back to our businesses, but many of us are going back to our jobs. I'm not giving you grief over that. Do what you have to do because both are necessary. Like I said, I need to plug at a big corporation for the work that I do. So it's important that like-minded people are in those roles, because if we're all entrepreneurs, where are we going to get the products from? Where are we going to, leverage those big organizations that have that capital that can help, and vice versa? So with that, guys, I don't want to keep you too much on this Monday motivation. I just want to talk about, here it is, guys. The Flintstones meet the Jetsons. A lot of us are set in our ways. We're locked in our ways, whether that's based on our cultural experiences, whether that's based on trauma that we've had in our life, whatever it may be. But the future is here. And I want my followers to embrace the future in whatever way you can. Feel good about the future. And if you're having trouble with it, let this be your Phoenix moment right now to be able to look back on things and say, this is the time I'm going to make the change. So this is Lindsay Hollis on SPS, another Monday Motivation. I appreciate you guys stepping in, checking it out. I also want to give a shout out again to Don Houston and my guy, Clarence Barbour, my homeboy Sumo, for the Streets of Talking. We're going to be on that podcast on Zoom this Friday. You're welcome to check in and check it out, or you can look us up and see some of the older podcasts to see what it's like, even if you want to just sip. My guy, Kevin Swift, appreciate you too. Appreciate DJ too. We'll be happy to make a great announcement about DJ in the very near future and some things we're going to do. So with that, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. It's Monday. Let's get out there. CV19 will not defeat us. CV19 will not set us back. CV19 will give us futuristic thinking to take us from being a Flintstone mentality to the Jetsons and going to the future and be driving the spaceship, leading the way. I appreciate you guys. Have a great day. Work on your goals bit by bit. Stay away from the toxic people if you can. Put the internet down every now and then. It can be overwhelming. And think positive and be whatever you want to be. If you come out of this CV19 as a new person going in a new direction, God bless you for that. I support you with that. And keep going and be around like-minded people. So with that, I'll see you guys. Thanks for checking in. Blessings to you. Take care.
That's right, folks. Lindsay Hollis with SPS back in the building on Southwest Side Detroit.
How do you hit a free throw? How do you finish strong? That's important. The other part of the spectrum is
always packed, always loud, always crazy. So it's a tough place to play in. You gotta go in there with a mind.
So I'll be in there tomorrow. That's really my motivation. Is I want to be like Gabe Brown. Gabe Brown shoots like